Good afternoon, folks. It's a pleasure to be here and to represent the board. I know there's an old saying that says great minds think alike. So I don't know if that's what we're going to apply here this afternoon. But Anisha actually did quite a bit of my presentation. Okay, let me start. The legislation that governs this allowance that we're talking about today is the Corporation Tax Act, and more specifically, Section 10 of that act, which deals with a lot of different allowances. But we're going to look today at Section 10 as it relates to art and culture, all right? And within that section, there is an allowance for the registered artwork, which is the visual and performing arts. We have sponsoring companies, which is Section 10J, production companies, which is Section 10K, and sponsors of fashion industry. Those are the four categories that relates to art and culture. Just to briefly look at the sponsoring company, even though I know we are a production company, but because you can also get a claim under sponsoring company, a company that sponsors a visual, audio, or video production for entertainment or for education locally is allowed a tax deduction of up to $3 million, and this increase was effective 2013, as we heard Anisha say earlier. To focus on the production company now, which is who you represent, a production company is a business. You're operating a business, and therefore there are certain legal or statutory obligations that you have to carry out. And that one of those things would be to, of course, file an income tax return. Now, in the normal course of business, your expenses are allowed, but the government has seen it fit to encourage this industry to offer an incentive, and the incentive is really to uplift your expenses by a 50%. So instead of getting a normal 100% as you would get in any business, what you would get now to encourage the industry is 150%, and that's up to $3 million. A production company, as Anisha said, can also get a further, we'll have to do some verification here, because I see I'm saying 2 million and you are saying 3 million for the production company sponsoring a piece of art or artistic work or any sporting activity. And this has to be not your own, nothing related to your own business, as Anisha mentioned earlier. Okay? So, according to my calculation, you can get up to $5 million if you choose to engage in this kind of activity. Or if Anisha is correct, then it would be $6 million. What is required? The board requires a certification, and you heard a lot of that from Anisha, and I'm sure that you may hear it again. But the board requires certification from, in addition to being registered with the ministry in the national art, you have to, and I believe that's the same certification we're talking about, where you have to be certified by the minister with responsibility for culture for a production company. The minister with responsibility for culture must do the certification. If you are producing something that would promote and reflect culture and entertainment, if you are promoting or producing something that reflects education, then the Minister of Education has the responsibility for that certification. And note, a deduction will not be allowed if you do not have certification. How does this claim work on our part? It actually reduces your chargeable income. So where in the normal sense, you would have a particular chargeable income. If you didn't have the claim, of course your chargeable income will be less with the claim. The lower the allowance, I think some people always got a mix up here. Note, some people feel that when they spend this money in the production, the government gives you back that money. It is not a tax refund. It really is an incentive. We don't pay back the money that you spend to produce the production, right? What you actually get is an incentive, all right? And what it does, it reduces your chargeable income, so it could either increase your refund or lower your tax payable, as the case may be. Here is my calculation, which is similar to what Anissa did. It shows your net profit prior to the incentive. Your normal deductions, I say, is $12 million your net profit is, and your normal deductions will be $10 million. Your chargeable income will be $2 million. That's what we charge the tax at 25%. If you decide to go with the incentive, you're registered and all of that, it means that that deduction will now increase from 10 million to 15 million with the uplift. It means that you would now be operating at a loss and not pay any tax. Where in the first instance, your tax liability for that particular year would have been $500,000. If you were registered, then you would have no tax liability. You would have actually been operating at a loss. And what this allows you to do is carry forward that loss into the other year. Okay? And this is just another calculation showing where the tax liability is actually reduced by using the incentive. When and how is the allowance claimed? Well, and he said they talk about that too. The allowance is claimed when a tax return for the respective year of income is submitted to the board. That's the point in time that you make your claim. You would have done all your bookkeeping, all your records which you would give to your accountant, who will sort out your profit and loss account, and it is actually attached to your return for that particular income year. A company's financial statement must be submitted with the tax return. You want to know what you have to submit? You have to submit you have to submit your financial statement. You have to include in the financial statement, of course, the expenses of the production, which would be 150%. When is it claimed? Anissa said it. 30th of April is the date. You have 6 months later without a penalty. Your penalty is $1,000 for every 6 months that you're late. This is an extract of the schedule on the tax return that you must complete as a production company. There's a schedule for you. This is an extract of it. It lists your expenses. It lists what the actual expenditure is and what it is with the uplift. Okay, this information is transferred to page 3 of your income tax return, Schedule A, and this is an excerpt of it. All right? And that's the end of my presentation.